Hello, welcome to the Billy Hufsey podcast. Now, this is really exciting for me. I met this guy a long, long time ago,
Yeah.
and we both played the same position, which is very, very cool. He went a little further than I did, to say the least. But I went to Brea High School. Reggie Langhorne, Cleveland Brown, great. Reggie, good to have you here, man.
Billy, it's always a pleasure to see you. When I had an opportunity to talk to you a couple of weeks ago, I go, this takes me way back to back when you were wearing those tight white jeans in the 80s. Only you and Mike Tyson had on tight jeans like that. But I remember it was a hell of a good time, and it was a good ride for the city, and it was big time football. And Cleveland has been a wonderful place for the last. I've been here now 26 years, and that's not including the 7 years that I played here prior to that.
Well, here, let's go back. And I think, man, I've been hit. I was an ex-boxer, but I do remember you're from Virginia.
Home is Virginia. I am from the ham capital of the world. Do you know what that is? So you need to know these things. These are historical things that you cannot live a life and not know where the ham capital of the world is. That's Smithfield, Virginia. It's probably, 8-10 miles south of Newport News, Hampton, Virginia. 35 miles west of Virginia Beach. So that's home. That whole Tidewater, Hampton, Norfolk, Virginia Beach is where I grew up. And there's a lot of tough ball players that's come out of there.
Well, tell me, so people know that you're a great athlete, great football player, but how did it start? Were you always good? Even as a kid, were you really gifted or no? Yes?
So in my little town, there weren't any Little League football for kids at that time. For me, there was no. I was in school when they were integrated in 69, 70 in Virginia, and we didn't have an opportunity to play Little League football. So I didn't play controlled football until I was 13 years old. So the best I can say that I was good is playing different communities. Would play. I don't know. You put on some jeans and a sweatshirt, and you got 8 of your buddies. You walk down to the next community, and you play 8 of their guys. In the back of somebody's cemetery or somebody's backyard. And that was it. I mean, the first time I put on cleats and a helmet and shoulder pads was when I was 13 years old. And I tried out for JV with my cousin's Sonny Jurgensen plastic cleats from his Christmas gift his parents gave him. That's how I tried out. And then those things blew out the first day. And coach says, listen, we're going to give you some used ones, but we'll give you some cleats so that you can at least try out. And it worked out okay.
Wow. So then you went to high school.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you play in high school?
I did well as a JV player. I did well as a high school player. And there were so many good athletes from the area. And I had never scaled myself as to trying to go to college or trying to go to the pros. I had never met a professional player. I'd never been to a professional game. So where so many young people see that, I'm going to be a pro ball player. I hear parents all the time saying their son's going to be a quarterback or a receiver. We didn't do that in my community. In my community was you go to school, you go to high school, and you play football, and you become a part of that. But as far as that going further, no. And I say this because even in my high school, there was only one gentleman by the name of Brian Wilson that got a scholarship to play at Norfolk State. Maybe, I think he came out of school in 78 or 79, but there were no scholarships. There's a coach by the names of Joseph Buggs. Joseph Buggs is from Newport News, Hampton, Virginia, who is absolutely legendary, who did amazing things for my community, who put over 90 guys in college in just 10 years that he coached at Smithfield High School. And he even got guys that didn't play for him scholarships or partial scholarships to other schools. And he helped so many young men become teachers and just career guys that the meatpacking plant didn't get a hold of, the shipyard didn't get a hold of. And nothing against folks that worked there their whole lives, because so many of them, that families that I know, and they raised their families. Yes. But Joe Buggs, that high school coach that we got, it was amazing what he did. And I still talk to Coach. And he went to Elizabeth City, and I kind of followed him there. But I did not plan on going to college when I got out of high school.
What college did you go to?
Elizabeth City State University. It's a D2, probably an hour and a half from my parents' house. And there were 1,200 students when I got there. I think they're up to 14. They're maxing out in their enrollment at 1,500. But we got to play schools like North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Central, Winston-Salem, Norfolk State, Hampton University. So we played competitive football, but we weren't what you would call a mega program where scouts would come in or people would come say, that's where you got to go and find some players. But there's a lot of players that came from what we would call then was the CIAA, and that was the conference that I played in.
That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's really very inspiring. Yes, I coach a little football down here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love helping people, and but that next step, and you took a half a step. You didn't go to Ohio State or Notre Dame.
No.
Wow, but that makes it even cooler for you.
Yeah, I in 79-80, the U.S. Army had a program called the Buddy Buddy program, where if two friends were to sign together, they could be stationed on the same basis. So my buddy, Skipper Gray, Charles Gray III, and he and I had been together since first grade. He's my best friend in high school, and we made that plan, and that's what we were going to do. We were going to go see the world. We were going to hang out together. You think you know it all when you're 17, 18 years old, but we're still friends, and we still have the same compassion for each other. And he was in the military for over 30 years. So when we had taken the actual test, the written test, and then we were trying to determine when we were going to take the physical, and he and my mother and my high school coach said, "Hey, you got 7 or 8 scholarships to these schools. They want to allow you to go to school free." And I didn't want to go to school. I had no desire to go to college. I wanted to go to the military. I wanted to get away from where I lived. I wanted to see things. And they persuaded me. My mom said, "Listen, give us 1 year of college, and then you can always join the military." And my buddy was there, and he was like, "Yeah, I would go. You can play." But I still didn't know the value of my talent. I was just another high school player. I didn't win no All-State. I didn't play on All-State teams. I didn't catch some enormous number of records. I just kind of played decent high school football. Yes. And then I got to college, and there was a lot of guys that were very good, even at a small school like Elizabeth City. But when I got there, you know what they got in college? They got girls.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, listen, I come from one high school town, and from first grade to 12th grade, they are the same girls.
Yeah.
And my coach and his wife took me to Elizabeth City, and I got there for a basketball game, and I saw people from New York and Carolina and South Carolina, Florida, Philly, DC. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give this a try for a year. At least I got a good year in me."
You can have some fun.
I got to be a player as a freshman, and then it just took off. And then I got to get started as a sophomore, and it just got better. And I still didn't know anything about the NFL. I still didn't think that what I was doing in the college that I was at was NFL worthy. I mean, you just don't. I don't know how to say it. I just didn't dream like that. I just didn't. It wasn't a thing. It wasn't important. My world was never, you're going to play pro ball.
Yes.
My junior year, I lit it up. Like I lit the conference up. I had some big games at big times. And the USFL had started. So the USFL had started to send scouts in places they normally didn't go. Made the NFL pick their pace up. And they started following these USFL scouts. And then all of a sudden, we might get 2 scouts a week, where we were getting 0 scouts before that. Right. And then there was a guy named Don Manilli from Cleveland Browns who took a liking to me. And he was the one responsible for me getting drafted here with Bill Davis, Ernie O'Corsi, Marty Schottenheimer. That's how I got to Cleveland.
Wow. Yeah. That's exciting. Well, before we go into the Browns, did you play any other sports, or was it just jeans and a t-shirt and that's all you?
Yeah, I mean, I shot hoops. I got cut freshman basketball. I got cut first year JV, and finally I got a coach that I don't know. Those other guys must didn't like me, but we got another coach. I think my 10th grade year, I played JV because it was the first time I made a basketball team. But I led the team in scoring, so I come like I know you shouldn't have cut me those first 2 years. But yeah, I had some good guys in high school, and most of us are still in touch. We've lost a few, like all of us. When you're young, you think you're invincible and you think everyone's going to be around. But I've lost some dear friends. Some I played high school ball with. Some I just went to high school, girls and guys. And when I think of home, sometimes it takes me back to when we were kids. Probably the best times when we were playing ball, 18, 17, 16 years old. That was a good time for me in my hometown.
Yeah. And you took the number 88. Was your number 88 in high school as well?
No, when you get to the league, back then, a guy that's a 7th-round draft pick from Elizabeth City, you get whatever you get. They say, thank you very much. Can I have another? I mean, that's just the way it is. I didn't come in like a #1 draft pick, and then they put you on ESPN, and you go, I'm gonna pay somebody $10,000 to get the number I want. I wore 80 in college, and when I got here, Willis Adams wore number 80. Harry Holt wore 81. Ozzie was 82. Glenn Young was 83. Brennan was 84. Clarence Rutherford was 85. Brennan was 86. There was no 84. And I decided to take 88. Why? I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Good number.
Yeah, it worked out good for me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. When the Browns picked you got there. That's got to be overwhelming. Even from your college was small, but this is the big time. This is the next level. Consequently, it's all you get. So you got to do everything you can when you get there. How was that? I mean, I hate it. I would not be a good person to haze because I don't like that. But was there hazing in it? What was it like?
Probably, and if I go back just a little bit, the first awakening to the NFL was one, getting drafted. But before that, the Washington Redskins scout that I sat with my college coach talking about the combine. I didn't know that there was a thing called the combine. I had no clue where the combine was. It just wasn't important in the world. You got to realize when we played at 1 o'clock on Saturdays, we were not watching Texas and Ohio State, Notre Dame, UCLA. We didn't watch those games. We had played at 1, about 4. Our families around, you're hanging out a little bit. We go to dances in the gym, have a few beers. My circle, my world was not just around football. And then when I got a chance to go to the combine, which was in Mesa, Arizona, and they paid for my flight. They got me there. And then I walked in that hotel and I saw Don Shula.
Oh.
And then I walked a little further and I saw Al Davis. And I said, oh boy, this man here. As I walked through, I'm looking at I knew Randall Cunningham and Vance Johnson and Al Toon was there. Now, Bruce Smith and I, who both grew up in Virginia, Bruce and I had been friends since we were 18. My roommates in college were his best friends in high school. So when we were all freshmen together on Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, we all hung out together. So Bruce and I had known each other. And Bruce was obviously the #1 pick in 1985, and I was number 175. So we had a great time together as guys. But getting here and learning how it worked, and it was just so far-fetched to realize that this is what I would be doing, going from playing in front of 3,000 to 80,000. Big deal.
That is, and it's awesome. I just love the fact that you started off with such a humble beginning. Yeah, I mean, you guys are playing. You didn't. Most boys start at 6, 7, 8 years old now. That's a big advantage. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, so you're playing for the Browns, and you meet this guy named Billy Hufsey in a nightclub.
Doing his thing, baby. Oh boy, we had a good time.
Yes, we did. And it was the first time we met. It was you and Webster.
In Webster, yeah. Over at right behind the Mountain Jacks. Used to be Harlow's.
Oh, Bojangles.
Impact.
Yes, Bojangles. Yeah, Bojangles, and then it became Harlow's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you remember that?
Yeah.
That's pretty doggone good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'm proud of you. I never knew that you're such an inspiration. don't tell you what to do. But, writing a book would be really awesome for these young kids to see that, even if it's a Division II, because the kids that I work with, they're always thinking Notre Dame or Ohio State. And, that great school that I'll just leave it at that. I know the school quite well. Mount Union, Division III. A lot of pros come out of that school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They always say if you can play, they'll find you. And there are a ton of small college football players that are playing in the National Football League for the last 30 or 40 years. And there's no question. They just didn't get the namesake. But if you do a little bit of history on it, you'll find out there's a lot of guys that played HBCUs football. And I'm very proud to be a part of what I was.
That's
and
awesome.
The legend that it carries in the league today.
Yes, sir. So you played, 8 or 9 years in the Browns, and then 1 year with the Colts?
7 years with Cleveland, and then 2 years with Indy.
Okay, so it was 9. I got it right. Yeah. So, but your best season was with the Colts, I think.
Yeah. When I do interviews about that part of my life, it gets a little more serious, and it gets a little a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. And I tell folks, I led the AFC in receiving in 1993. Mm-hmm. I think our record was 3 and a bunch. I caught a lot of late third, fourth quarter passes because we were behind. It wasn't like catching and leading the AFC in catches and your team being 12-4 or 10-6. We were a bad team that threw the ball late, and I caught a lot of passes. Although you still got to catch the ball. I mean, no matter what, I still caught the ball. I still did the running from it, and I ended up walking away from the game, and a lot of it has to do with the distance I put between the want and need to train and prepare for football and the desire to live a different way. And I lean more towards doing what I wanted to do. I thought that I could slide by, skate by, sneak by, and it caught up with me. That's just the facts.
Wow. I'll tell you, so we became friends, and I think I was shooting Fame at that time, if I'm not. And I always watch you, because you're my boy, man. You and Webster, and I'll never forget this here. There was a pass, and it was intercepted. And then I see number 88. I see my boy running, and I thought, oh my, that's a big dude. That's a big dude. Reggie grabbed his dude and threw his 180-pounder like he was. What's that?
It was Buffalo. I tried to kill him. So football, you can play with a bit of an edge,
yes.
A little anger on the inside, but you still have a lot of poise. And as a receiver, we need that. Yeah. But when someone would catch an interception from BK or any of the other receivers we had, quarterbacks, I took it personal. And that was a linebacker, and it was Buffalo, and I tried to take his head off.
Yeah.
Because at that moment I went from that. As people, we all have something inside of us that it boils, and when it comes to that peak, you can't control yourself. Mm-hmm. But when somebody caught an interception on us, that's how I felt. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And yes, I literally tried to take his head off.
Yes. Wow. You remember that too. That was a great memory, because I was, of course, I'm bragging on you to my friends out in LA. I said, that's my dude right there. And I couldn't believe it, because he was a lot bigger than you, but you seemed like he was a scarecrow. So you retired, and then you got into business. So you got into what kind of businesses did you get in after the
So when I retired, I had started building a house. I had some property on the water in Virginia, and I built a home in Virginia. And for a while, I poked around a gym that I was a partner of. I poked around a restaurant that I was a partner of, but I did not do a whole lot. In other words, my abrupt departure from the NFL kind of left me where I deserved to be, pretty much, kind of out in the cold without any decision-making or, so that whole idea that it happened so fast, decisions were made, and then that depression, the frustration, you got a couple of bucks and you can do what you want, but still on the inside, when something's wrong, it's wrong. Yes. And until you get it fixed, it'll stay wrong. and I couldn't fix it by myself. So I stayed home for about 8 years, about 7 years in my house that I built, which was down the street from my parents. So I was at home. I felt safe at home. And I thought that I would get out of this rut. So I moved back up to Cleveland saying, this is where I started. If I get back up there, things may turn around and I can sort this dark place that I'm in. Except when I moved back up there, I just brought me with it. It didn't change. Still doing some of the craziness, hadn't really worked, toyed around with a job here and there. People would give me a position because of my name to open a couple of doors because I hadn't really been in any trouble. And I was still respected and loved in Cleveland. So I could still shake a couple of hands and help some folks out. But I never felt comfortable in my own skin knowing what I knew about myself, that I never came out of my shell. And then finally, I started selling cars. I worked for the O'Brien family. I worked for the Serpentini family. I worked for the Ganley family, all in about 12 years. But mainly, I was in the Westlake store where I lived in Westlake for about 19 years. Now I live in Avon Lake. And it's quiet, and I like it, and life's different. I have my daughter here with my 3-year-old grandson. They've been here for 3 weeks. I think they're going to stay one more week, then I think I'm going to take them home. But they could stay. I enjoy the company. And I know it's still cool to have one of my grandson run around his house, with his Pampers on or his underwear and trying to be, macho man. There's some things in life that I really wanted to do. You think when you're young, you got all these things you want to do. And now I turned 62, and my son, who is a Navy chief, has 2 boys. He has a 4-year-old and a 6-month-old. And then my daughter, who can come with me sometimes, has a 3-year-old. So I have 3 grandsons. Yes. So I probably got maybe 2 or 3 years here in Cleveland. And when those boys start school, I want to be the grandpa that can pick them up and go to the playground after school. Yes. Those are the goals I have now. I don't have a number financially I need to reach. I don't have something else that's huge. I need to be spiritually fit and enjoy my family and try to be a decent human being.
I love that. The key to success is inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we could talk about it. You and I have both had some crazy highs in our lives.
Yeah.
Knowing when you get down, it's the people around you and the people around you that love you and you love them.
How about that?
There's nothing better than that.
I agree.
But sometimes, Reggie, it takes us a few years to get humble and realize.
I was told this, and I'm a firm believer, if you can't have a testimony until you've been tested. And that's just the way it is. I had to go through what I went through, the way I went through it. It's my life, it's my journey, but I get to share it. Maybe I can help somebody else not do all of the stuff I did,
Yeah.
And I get to help out like that. I'm glad to be a part of the solution and not the problem mostly.
Yes. Well, a mistake is not a mistake if it's learned from, and as we learn from that, we grow. We grow and we become better. I'm glad that we got this old at this age. Yeah. Not that we're old, but I appreciate love and life so much more today.
Right.
I will stop my car and open a door for an old lady that at the grocery store. I do it all the time, but I feel that that's my duty. And you and I both been so blessed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I love your story. It's a beautiful story. And it's funny because I would have never known any of this because I remember us running in the nightclubs. Chasing them girls a little bit.
That's been 30. And I love saying how long it's been. I played golf yesterday with Hanford, K-Mac, and Felix Wright. And Felix, K-Mac, and I had Bernie. I drove Bernie around. It's been 40 years that I've been in Cleveland. And anytime you can say something that you've done for 40 years, you have you've had a little walk. You haven't had a long walk. You had a little walk. And the fact that I did it with those guys, and you and I have known each other at least 38 years.
Yes.
Maybe 39. But we were kids back then, man.
Oh, yes.
Still decent folk trying to do right. And I'm glad life has brought happiness to you.
Oh, yeah. I'm blessed just to have this conversation. I love having you on. I learned a lot about you too as well. And I think you've always been a good dude. That's why I reached out to you.
Thank you.
First round, first athlete, right there, because you were always a good person too, and we always had fun running around. But you were always on the field, and you always gave 110%, no matter what. Just like you were chasing that big dog down, and made me proud, made me laugh. I'm
going to tell you a story.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you a story. And it seems like as I get older, because I got the boys and they don't understand me now, but I still tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1985, when I got drafted here, Marty Schottenheimer decided to keep me as one of the last receivers to make the team. They cut a guy by the name of Dwight Walker. Dwight had stayed out after curfew the last season, had an accident. So he was in bad graces with Marty. Mm-hmm. And we had just played the Raiders, the last preseason game in 85 in Municipal Stadium. And I run a deep dig route. Dig is up in 20 yards and across, 18 and across. Gary Danielson threw it early, but perfect. Hit me in the chest, went in the air, and the Raiders intercepted, and we lost that game. So now it's the final cut. And that's my final play. I did not rest well for 36 hours. I'm like, man, I'm going to get cut. I got to go back home. And I remember being in a barber shop because the man who owned the barber shop graduated high school with my father. And I graduated high school with his son, who now the son runs it. And I remember they were giving me pep talks. It's like they believed that I could give it a good effort, but that I wasn't ready for the NFL because that wasn't something we knew. I am the first. So that wasn't something that, you shake hands with pro ball players like kids around here see guys all the time. And as soon as I came out of the meeting that morning, I didn't know I'd made the team. And the reporters, Tony Grossi, a few other guys were around my locker, and they said, congratulations, you made the team. No one told me. They said, no, the list is out. You made the team. And what a relief. And not 30 seconds, I get a knock on my shoulder. It was Marty. He reached between the reporters, and he said, come with me. Now, I don't know nothing about nothing. I don't know that he's going to – now if I think about it, was he going to tell me I'm going to be on IR? Was he going to trade me? I mean, now I understand that. But back then, I have no clue. He pulls me outside. He says, listen, I cut a veteran today in Dwight Walker. He was a good ball player, but I think that you had a potential to be a pretty good player yourself. So I tell you what, I'm going to give you an opportunity. But if you ever not follow and do what I expect you to do and hustle and grow as a player, I will ship you back to where you came from, wherever, Carolina, Virginia, wherever you get on the train or bus. And he spoke to me exactly like that. Right. And he looked me dead in my eyes. And I said, all right, coach, okay. So Herman Fontenot and I were roommates. We had the BBC Club. We had Rapid Lion. We had what was the place? I can't even think of the place on Brook Park Road.
Dixie Electric Company.
Electric Company. Tuesday nights at the place, a mining company.
The mining company.
Herman and I went out Sunday after game, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the team was pretty good. We finished up 8-8. But this was middle of the season, and maybe we I can't remember whether we lost or we just played horrible and we won. But either way, normally on a Monday, when you get back, you get up in the morning, you go to work out at Big Creek, lift, you run, you get yourself back together, you get ready for the team meeting. And normally Marty will come in, say a few words. Special teams have already met. Offense goes one way, defense goes another. This time, Marty says, no, everybody in the room together. Defense, offense, and every coach. And something's up because this ain't normal. So we sit down and he says, I'm going to tell you guys why we didn't win. And I'm going to show you the plays that costed us games, and they will continue to cost us plays if we don't get this kind of stuff right with this organization and this football team. If we plan on going places. This is how he was talking. Like, he was ticked off. He cuts it on, and it's the kickoff team. And I was a 4-3-2 guy. I was the fastest guy on that football team. And I was number 4 or 5 running down on kickoffs where I used to be 1. So now I'm kind of comfortable. And I'm not realizing that I'm doing it. I don't know that I'm not running full speed. I'm kind of in this happy place of playing in the league. I got a jersey on Sunday, you know, I get to be cool on Sunday night. He ran it back 3 or 4 times. And he says, who is this? Is this you, Lang? He always called me Lang. He says, Lang, is that you? And he just does it. And he says, cut the lights on. Stand up. So now the entire team, coaching staff, everyone. And I'm standing up. And he says, do you remember our conversation that I told you about not being? Yes. He ran it right back to me in front of everyone else there.
Wow.
And then we hit about 3 more kickoffs, and every one of them, I was not the first guy down. That meeting got over, and Eddie Johnson, who shared the locker with me, God rest my friend's soul, said,
right on.
Said, hey, Rook, the last guy he told that was gone the next day. I was like, dude, give a guy a break. Marty didn't cut me, but Marty never again didn't have to worry about me not going full speed.
Right on.
And it's like Forrest Gump. When I was going somewhere, I was running.
Yeah.
And Marty, in 1986, second game of the year, he walked up to me. He says, are you ready to start? I said, yeah, coach. He said, you take the front this week. So Webster and I became the starters against the Houston Oilers in 1986. And both of us were the 2 starters for the Browns for the next 7 years.
Yes.
The beginning of our run. Yep. Never relinquished my starting position after that.
That's awesome, brother. That's all. I love it. Herman, now I'm remembering. We all hung out together. And Eddie Johnson. Yeah. Oh, we had good times, though. We had good time, didn't we, brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you so much. Not only did I have a good time, but I learned a lot. And I'm going to have all of my kids on my high school team watch this video because I think you are inspiration. Yeah. And you've always been a good dude. I don't care what we go through in life. The essence is a good person, and you've always been that good person. I want to thank you for being my friend, and we're gonna hang. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to say something, and I'll tell you, I'm going to tell stories. You can cut this any way you want to.
No, go ahead. Let's go.
But I want to say this to the kids, and I used to tell young receivers that the last 6 inches were the most important part of catching a football. You can see it here, but if you don't drop your eyes, then you'll probably lose it. And that's true. But now what I tell them is, I remember when I was in high school and I would work out by myself running in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But at the end of my workout, there was always something in the tank. And I would run until there was nothing left. And then when I went to college, I realized that there was more in the tank because what I had been building was something for the tank. When I got in the league and I had to train because I didn't want to have pull hamstrings, I wanted to make the football team because now I'm not a star. Now I'm a young kid trying to be on a team. I had to run harder. And then when I got done doing whatever they told me to do at practice, whatever they told me to do, I found more in the tank. And you know why? Because in the fourth quarter of a football game, in life, the same way, I needed to have more in the tank. I needed to believe that there was something left in me, even when no one else could feel it, or I couldn't see it. I knew it was there, and I had to dig in. I had to dig in a little deeper.
Yes, sir.
If you don't train that bottom side of you, you don't know it's there.
Yes.
You don't know what's in the bottom, and I found it. And it's like now today, life has never been better. I put a lot of demons out of my life, a lot of problems out of my life, and God has blessed me with happiness and peace.
I feel it.
It's going to be okay.
It. What I tell the kids is when you think you've exhausted every possibility, know that you have not. There's one more.
How about that?
And I think it basically says the same thing. You're awesome, dude. I'm so blessed to have you on my show, and I'm gonna get this out to all my football players because you are an inspiration.
Thank you.
Love you, my man, and we'll be talking soon.
It has been a pleasure, and I wish you nothing but happiness and peace in life. And I'm glad you're working with the kids. You're a beautiful human being to take the time to do so. Thank you, Billy. We'll see you soon, brother.
Yes, sir.
Okay, babe.
Well, you have the Billy Hufsey podcast. Check it out, Mr. Reggie Langhorne, the legend in my book, The Legend.
See you, brother.
Wow, that was awesome. Reggie Langhorne. Not only have I known him for years and years, but when he was on the field, I was a big fan. He was a great football player. And what I love about him most is he wants to do the right thing. It's pretty awesome when you find somebody that's successful, but they worry less about doing things right and worry more about doing the right thing. He wants to be a great dad, a great grandpa, and we're blessed because he stayed in our community, Cleveland, Ohio. So next week, we have the lightweight boxing champion of the world, Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Been my friend for a long, long time. Wonderful person as well. Ray Boom Boom Mancini, next Thursday at 6:30. I am fired up for this. I got to get my boxing gloves. I'll see you soon.